each of us has 2 copies of survival motor neuron gene 1. Now this is what is needed to make proteins that give nutrition to the motor neuron so that it can give function to the muscle so that the muscle can work normally. Alright? Now so I have 1 normal, 1 abnormal one. I am a carrier of survival of spinal muscular atrophy. I am asymptomatic. I don't have symptoms. Carriers don't get symptoms, okay? And it's only because I have got 1 normal survival motor neuron gene and I have 1 abnormal survival motor neuron gene, okay? Good humans! Hello. Welcome back to Lydia Weige's Way. My name is Lydia. I am happy you are here. How's the learning going? Is it understandable? Are you comprehending? Is it too complicated? Am I losing y'all? Welcome back to where we connect, we learn, we grow, we hope, we share. And today we dig our claws in further on all things spinal muscular atrophy. Anybody new to my channel, welcome. I'm Lydia. I'm raising a son who has spinal muscular atrophy type 1, rare genetic disorder that causes the muscles not to function well. And this YouTube channel, I created it just to be able to share from my experiences, and hopefully somewhere a parent will not have a lot of mental load to try and understand what spinal muscular atrophy. They can look at these videos, get a quick grasp, and use their energy, expend it to something else which will definitely be needed for their child. Alrighty? Now, I hope you have been watching the videos, and we are on a series where we are covering everything spinal muscular atrophy. Lesson 1, we covered what is spinal muscular atrophy. Do you remember what we said? If you don't use it, you'll lose it. And then lesson 2, we covered a little deeper about the gene. Yes, we understand, we remember, and we learned about a defective survival motor neuron gene, which makes defective survival motor neuron proteins, which means the motor neurons do not survive quite essentially, and then you have muscles that don't work. Okay, the names give themselves: survival motor neuron, and the motor neuron needs this survival motor neuron to survive, a protein to survive. Alrighty, now today we are going to see how parents who have a defective survival motor neuron gene end up with a child who has spinal muscular atrophy. Stay tuned. Alrighty, let's get into it. Remember, I'm not a doctor. This is my understanding as a mother and my interpretation, which is very simplified, and I hope I don't lose any of you. So, now, we said we have got survival motor neuron gene who makes proteins, survival motor neuron protein, who gives nutrition to the motor neurons so that they can survive and have the muscle movement. Now, I said we have 2 copies of survival motor neuron gene. Here we go. Each of us has 2 copies of survival motor neuron gene 1. Now, this is what is needed to make proteins that give nutrition to the motor neuron so that it can give function to the muscle so that the muscle can work normally. Alrighty. Now, we said in spinal muscular atrophy, you have got a defective survival motor neuron gene 1. Now, we each have 2 copies of survival motor neuron gene 1. In my case, I have 1 normal survival motor neuron gene 1, and I have an abnormal survival motor neuron gene. Okay, now you're supposed to have 2 copies, both normal. I have 1 normal and an abnormal. It is missing a few units in it. Okay, so I have 1 normal, 1 abnormal one. I am a carrier of spinal muscular atrophy. I am asymptomatic. I don't have symptoms. Carriers don't get symptoms, okay? And it's only because I have got 1 normal survival motor neuron gene and I have 1 abnormal survival motor neuron gene, okay? Now, Nathaniel's father is the same case. He has 1 normal survival motor neuron gene and 1 not normal survival motor neuron gene. And so he too is a carrier. He is asymptomatic. Now, which brings me to big word number 1. Spinal muscular atrophy, is an autosomal recessive genetic condition. In other words, it is recessive because I have been a carrier and I am asymptomatic. It's recessive, okay? And his father is also recessive because he is a carrier, okay? Now, for the child to have spinal muscular atrophy, you need 2 people who have defective survival motor neuron gene 1 for the child to get spinal muscular atrophy, okay? And it's autosomal recessive because it's just by chance that 2 people with this rare genetic abnormality meet, okay? And they get a child with spinal muscular atrophy. Now, are we together so far? Together so far? Yeah? Survival motor neuron gene, normal 2 copies, okay? I am a carrier because I have 1 survival motor neuron gene copy that is normal, another one that is abnormal. His father, same thing, has 1 that is normal, 1 that is defective, okay? And so we are carriers because we have this one that does the job that this one is slacking on, okay? Now, we're together so far? Together? Okay, hold on. I'll give you just a minute for that to, grasp it. And we're back, alrighty? Now, since we're 2 parents who are carriers, a few things can happen. I again will say I'm not a doctor, so this I have simplified for everybody's understanding, okay? Now, you can get, since we're 2 parents who have this, you can get a child, 25% chance of a child who is not affected by SMA at all, okay? 25% chance. I am a carrier, the dad is a carrier. We can get 25% chance of getting a child who's completely unaffected, right? And then we have got 50% chance of getting a child who is a carrier. Alrighty? 50% chance of getting a child who is a carrier. And then we have got 25% chance of getting a child with SMA. Alright? Have I lost y'all? I hope not. Yeah? So if you have got a parent, two parents who are carriers, like we are, asymptomatic, you can either get 25% unaffected, you can get 50% a carrier, or you can get 25% with spinal muscular atrophy. Now my son Nathaniel, our son Nathaniel, is at 25%, who inherited two faulty genes. He inherited a copy of my faulty and defective SMN1 gene, and he inherited a copy of a defective SMN1 gene from his dad, and so he ended up with spinal muscular atrophy. Okay, so the like of this is perhaps sickle cell disease is what people understand more, but it's the same thing. Okay, two carriers, you have a 25% chance of unaffected child, you have 50% chance of one who is just a carrier like I was, and then you have another 25% chance of getting a child with spinal muscular atrophy, which is where our son is. Okay, have we understood so far? Lesson understood so far? Alrighty, on how the autosomal recessive gene drops down. And truly, that's why it's a rare condition, because you can imagine the chances of meeting somebody who has a genetic defect like you and not knowing, and then him having a genetic defective like me and not knowing, because it's nowhere in our family, nobody else has, neither is it anywhere in in his family, Nathan's dad, that they have heard of it, and so we ended up together and got a child with spinal muscular atrophy. And this was the first time I had quite truly ever heard of spinal muscular atrophy. Never before that. I didn't even know what it was. So I had to read and dig deep and find a way to simplify it, which is why I'm making this video, so that nobody ever has to, the next parent may have an easier time of understanding what spinal muscular atrophy is. All right, now these small components will come and be helpful when we are discussing about the medications for spinal muscular atrophy and what they target, and you might get that might help. If anything does not sink in right now, then we will get back to that. Okay, now next lesson, I think I will branch out a little bit and discuss types of SMA, because there are classifications. Remember in the first video I said Nathan has type 1, so there is a few subtypes, very easy to remember, very easy to understand, and then we will move on from there. Okay, alrighty, have I lost anybody? Keep letting me know how we're doing in the comments. Keep letting me know if you're understanding, if I am losing you, if I need to repeat something. Just keep letting me know. If my visual aids are helping, I'm a visual learner myself. So just let me know in the comments, and we shall see you next time, good humans. God bless you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Remember to subscribe, to like, to share.